Charlie Munger, famous billionaire investor and vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, believes that the first $100,000 is the hardest to amass. Not only him though. Many people who have grown their wealth believe this to be true, and the same thing is often said about achieving the first million. Once you achieve the $100,000 mark, it will be significantly easier to reach $200,000. Then comes $300,000 and $400,000 and so on. The moment you reach your first million, the second one is usually just right around the corner, and it seems to take even less time to amass compared to the first million. While this is reassuring for those of us that are on the way to grow our wealth but feel that the journey is extremely slow, but why exactly is this the case? Let us try and examine why the first $100,000 take a disproportionately long time to achieve, and also discuss some things you can do to speed up the whole process so that you can become wealthy years sooner. An obstacle that is faced by many would be the process of actually beginning to invest. Sure, investing can seem like a task that is low in priority now, which is why it continually gets pushed to the back burner. Before you know it, you are 40 years in and scratching your head wondering how you are going to retire. Let me ask you this. How many people do you know in your life that would start investing if they had more money? They will say that they will start investing when they have more money. But that is the equivalent of saying that you will start putting wood on a fire once it starts producing heat. My point is, you don't start investing because you have too much money. You invest because you want to have more money. Another common excuse I often hear is the risk factor. Most of us know a coworker or a friend that is against investing, and their rationale is that investing is too risky, so they would avoid doing it altogether. As is the case with many things in life, taking the first step is the hardest. When the finish line seems so far away, it is easy to push something off to some time in the future. Achieving the first $100,000 requires you to do most of the heavy lifting, meaning the majority of the money needs to be personally contributed by you. Once your portfolio reaches a sizable amount, compound interest starts to work wonders. Although the percentage returns don't necessarily increase, the returns in dollar terms become much larger. For example, if a $3,000 investment earns a 10% return in a year, that is only $300, and it is hardly noticeable. $300 can easily be made by working a few extra hours here and there. When thought of it this way, it can seem insignificant. What if a $300,000 investment earns a 10% return? It is $30,000, and it is a great start to replacing your 9 to 6 salary. Once it reaches $1 million, a 10% annual return gains you $100,000. That is a much larger amount. That is more than what most people earn in their day jobs. People say that when their portfolio gets to $100,000, they can really notice the progress of their investments. Once the snowball gets rolling, the rate of growth starts to rapidly accelerate. As your portfolio grows to a large amount, the progress is extremely satisfying, and that excitement can speed up the process. In other words, you would start to look for other ways to grow your portfolio quicker as the results become substantial. You might look for ways to increase your income so you can contribute more to your portfolio. Or you might look for better assets to earn better returns so that the growth is accelerated. Instead of going out to eat and spending $100 in a few hours, you might begin to think twice. Realizing how powerful compound interest is will make you more carefully consider your purchases. This is because you realize how much that $100 will grow and continually reward you if it's invested, and it will be harder for you to part with. For example, you spent $100 on a meal out, and that money is gone forever. If you had invested that money, it could reward you $10 the first year it's invested, $11 the next year, and $12 the next. Of course, $100 isn't a large amount of money, but it's the habit of saying $100 in different categories on a regular basis that will add up. As you become wealthier, you have more options, and this will become more and more obvious. When you have $100,000 saved, that you can do that someone living paycheck to paycheck cannot. If you have the opportunity to take another job with a potential higher income or more room for growth, but the pay is not steady, you have the savings to take that risk. Your job might pay $50,000 per year, but if opportunity rises, it is likely to pay more than $100,000 a year, but it is commission only. If you need that $50,000 paycheck, taking this type of risk is not practical. Maybe you always wanted to start a business, but never have the capital or money to fall back on. The new business could make you millions, but if you can't begin, then it's a lost opportunity. Perhaps an amazing opportunity presents itself in real estate. You have the chance to purchase a property way below market price, but it's a big risk. When you have money saved up, this might be a risk that is worth taking. While it's not ideal to cash out your investment, the fact is that you at least have the option if you need to, or if a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity presents itself. Someone who is living paycheck to paycheck, or with only a little bit of money saved up, is much more limited in what they can do. Adding on to the idea of being able to take advantage of more opportunities, when you have more money, you can take on more risk in your investments. If you see potential in a stock, it is easier to be speculative if you have extra money, and it is not going to ruin you financially if that investment does not work out. You would hopefully still have other types of investment. A friend of yours could present an opportunity to invest in a new business venture, and you're not going to go broke if it doesn't work out. Someone with little money saved wouldn't have the option to participate in something like this. Now, I know I was going on about it for a while there, but I'm not trying to scare anyone here. If you're still working on the $100,000 milestone, there are a variety of ways to speed up the process. Since the majority of these funds is going to be money you personally contribute, you need to focus on increasing the amount of money you're saving, or known as your savings rate. This can be the best way that you can accelerate the process. In order to save more money on a regular basis, you need to increase your active income. This could be done either with an extra job over the weekends, or a couple gigs a week where the extra cash can be deposited directly into your savings. You might also consider starting a side business that will bring in some extra income. On the other side of the equation, you ought to be careful when spending on unnecessary items. Do you really want to spend $100 on dinner out? Or would you rather reserve that for special occasions and save more money instead? Remember, watching pennies like this is only temporary until you reach your goal of $100,000, at which point you would be able to ease up a little. Regardless, stay away from large car payments for vehicles that are simply unnecessary, as these expenses are common reasons people never reach $100,000, never mind $1 million. Once you're familiar with the process of saving and investing, it will be much easier to continue doing what you're doing. By the time you obtain a substantial amount of money, You will be used to finding ways to earn extra money and put that into your savings. You will also be used to being more deliberate with your purchases and really think whether they are necessary or it will be more rewarding to put it into savings. In the future, I might make an entirely separate episode on the ways to be more conscious of your expenses and how to spend to get the most bang for your buck. If you would like to see it, be sure to click the subscribe button below. Moving on to the main topic, you will be more comfortable with taking risks in the process of investing in different market cycles, and you might even learn how to take full advantage of it. Once you reach the $100,000 mark, you can let off the gas a little bit, according to Charlie Munger. Although the first million is the next milestone, or maybe the next milestone is $500,000, it's up to you. But it definitely becomes easier as the majority of the investments will likely be the result of compound interest instead of money that you will have to contribute yourself. Next time you're stressed about increasing your net worth, know that it becomes easier, more enjoyable, and more rewarding as time goes on. This would be the end of the video. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment below about your thoughts or any ideas you have.